Next, we're on item 9G, the annual budget.
Yes, good evening, Council and Mayor. This is a recap and our budget adoption. So please, any questions that you have, we'll just stop and talk about them. But basically, this will be, I'll be showing you the changes that happened since the very first publicized budget summary that we put in the Oklahoman. So that's where we're going from. So we've had 5 workshops between March 11th and May 13th, and they were over the topics of budget process, economic outlook, public safety, capital projects, building, planning, engineering, utility, public works, and administrative. And we had our budget public hearing on May 28th. So at the May 28th budget hearing, Council asked that we fund another $100,000 in nonprofit giving. So we have added that to this budget. And we designated $160,000 for the marijuana fund. So it has its own fund now, and it will stay there until Council decides how you want to spend it. But it is separate, and you will be able to see it. This year, so for 24-25, we've budgeted at a 0.5 growth rate. And I actually have newer results. We got our sales tax collections in today where we had it analyzed, but as of May, our sales tax collections growth were down 0.44%, and we came back a little bit. In our June check, it was up 2.51%, so now for the full year, we're down 0.21%. But we didn't break even on sales tax collections this year, and that's a full 12 months of collections. And then our use tax collections were up about 3.83% through May. And as of today, we are up for the full year 4.28%. We had a pretty good month for use tax. In June, we were up a little over 8%. And then the combined sales and use collections were up 0.25% through May, and now it's 0.49. So we came up just a little bit, basically ended the year at 0.5 growth, which is what we've based next year on. And just as a reminder, we did project growth at 2% for sales tax for this year, and we've come in at negative 0.21, and we projected use tax at 5% growth. And we've come in at 4.28. So almost made the use tax, but overall 0.49% is how we came in. So the only thing, we presented this at the budget hearing. It changed a little bit, and our direct cost budget was 440 some million, and it's now 453. It changed by 8.6 million, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this is our final budget right here. So our funds, total estimated revenue, very close to what we presented in May 28th, and it's $349 million. And it's pretty typical of what we see every year. 62% of our revenue comes from charges for services, and that's mostly utility charges, but it also comes from golf, planning, just any kind of fees, any kind of revenue that we bring in that we charge for a service is what that is. Taxes are what we run most of our general fund on, and it's 33% of our overall revenue. And then interest income, grants, licensing and permitting, miscellaneous. Miscellaneous things are they're just administrative fees for court or, let's see, there was a state admin fee that ran through building. It's things like that. It's really just miscellaneous type things. So $349 million is our revenue estimate, and then $453,506,917 is our actual proposed budget for direct costs. And utility services, again, make up most of that cost. And then you can just see how it goes down. It's just generally speaking, just all the different types of funding that we fund. So park and rec rec would be, anything from building things for our parks to actually, maintenance. And it's those types of services that we're talking about here. The 113, so we're estimating 113 million. It's just pretty flat from what we've had in the last year. 70 million of that goes to general fund. 32 million goes to capital projects, and 9 million goes to special revenue. And the special revenue is mainly police and fire, public safety. It also has, a few other things in it, but that is the bulk of it. So of that 70 million of the 113, so the 70 million that goes into general fund, we do split that with public safety. So police receives 36.8% of that, so about 26 million. General fund keeps around 23 million, and then fire gets their share of around 21 million. And it just so you kind of know too, I'm sure you guys know this, but fire also has a 0.25% dedicated tax. It gives about 6 million more to them a year, and then police has a 8 cent or a 0.125% dedicated tax, and they get an additional 3 million. So police will end up around 29 million, and fire ends up around 27 million or so, their total budget. So this, and we can tag team here. Andy's here, our chiefs are here, but this is really our difference. And what changed mainly, it was 8.6 million from our hearing or from our actual budget that we presented in the paper, but most of it, if I can get the right button, is capital projects. And it was really just capital projects that we've added. So I'll kind of go down through here, and then if you have questions for anybody in particular, we can get them up here. But another item, and it just really had not been budgeted, but we need to do it, is our field services collection system repairs, and that's just manholes and pipe repair, keeping infrastructure in the shape that it needs to be in. So that's another 900,000. Everything else was pretty much, you can see there's the donations that we added. Between May 22nd and now, people were just reviewing their budgets, and there were some adjustments to supplies or contract services that they needed. And so that's what the rest of those things are. But the ARPA down here at the bottom too, all that is that we were able to finish some projects that we had budgeted for in 25. We thought we were going to have to do them in 25, but we finished them. So that's why that went down in 25. We have a finite dollar amount for that, and so we try to budget it all out so that we're at zero at the end of 25, because we're running out of time. December 31st of 24, we have to have all that encumbered. Do you have any questions for anyone here at this slide? Okay. So I usually just go over this briefly. We give approximately $1.7 million to our nonprofits. And so next year, the Park Conservancy Trust will have $240,302. That's their budget. The airport, we plan to give $150,000. They do have a few things. We don't talk about the airport very often, but they do have some exciting things coming up. And if anything materializes, though, we will come back to you. They've got some grants from the FAA, and so there may be some additional expense, but it hasn't materialized the last year or two, so we went ahead and budgeted our normal, what we expect to share the costs with them. And then our Community Agency Review Committee, or our CARC, which is all of our social agencies, or most of our social agencies, $1.35 million, and that includes the $100,000 additional. So, and I just will point out, when I put the packet together that you guys received, I had these two mixed up, so I fixed it here. So Turning Point Ministries will get $30,000 additional, Fostering Sweet Dreams 10, and Your Special 10,000, and then additional money for the museum of $45,000, and the Historic Preservation Trust, which is a schoolhouse on 2nd Street. And so there's the additional $100,000. And the next steps just are, if you
we do recommend that you accept this budget. And if you do, it will be filed no later than July 31st with the state auditor. And our budget books will be available online. We do have hard copies too. If anybody here or in the public would like a hard copy, just let me know. But we get several, but we don't have a real demand for the hard copies anymore. So just let us know, or it's available online. Any questions?
Thank you for all the hard work.
Well, thank you.
Budget's never easy, and so to staff, thank you for all your hard work as new processes were implemented this year and to help us migrate to the future. I appreciate all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Council, any other questions, comments?
Just a couple of comments. One I would say is, and we saw this earlier today, is something that I believe just citizens of Edmond, our neighbors have done really well, is they've decided that at certain times they want to invest in quality of life, and that includes, education, recreation, public safety. In regards to the purchases we were able to make earlier to our police and fire needs, a new training center that's going to be an amazing recruitment tool, the ambulances that we're able to get off contract with AMR, that's all because citizens went in and they dedicated funding to that. And we see the results of that, of best pay, best benefits, best training, great morale, good support. And I think we want to keep that going. As I look at this, what I see is continuing needs in the future to be able to address some of our other capital concerns, primarily that of transportation, roads. As I look, we continue to spend, I think, $4.5 to maybe $5 million on our street and repaving. As inflation creates some pressures there and some other things, that dollar just doesn't go on the road as far as it used to. And so I look forward to future conversations as we've formed or looking to form a GO bond advisory committee and others to once again go to the citizens and say, do you want dedicated funding to that? We've had great results, I think, to things that we've been very intentional about, but we're at the point where we have some very significant capital needs, and we'll either have to get out and I think do some very, very big cuts in the next couple of years to take care of some of those ongoing needs, or, which I think the citizens will choose to do, is to invest significantly in the quality of life and call us a great place to go home. So thanks for your work here. The other thing I want to note on the CARC, those dollars, City Council has historically, my understanding, got about $100,000, and that goes towards different projects and things that come up that we don't anticipate or things that we want to invest in or research or maybe attend a conference, whatever. None of that was spent this last year, and so that's where those dollars are coming from this year. I think sometimes the public, hey, where did that money come from? So it comes from our unspent dollars for this year, and then I hope to be part of a conversation to look how we can modernize that in the future. So those are my comments on the budget, but appreciate everyone's work on it.
Thank you very much. Any council? Well, this is still part of the public hearing. Any questions, comments from the audience on our budget?
Mr. Mayor, I think Mr. Conyers had an item he was going to mention on the YMCA item.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like for him to do that,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Mayor and Council, Andy Conyers, Assistant City Manager of Administration. So as Ms. Panis covered on this slide right here that may be a little hard to see, this slide was covering the increases in expenditures from the budget that was published in the Oklahoman in mid-May versus what is being adopted by, asked to be adopted by the council tonight. One of those expenses I'll draw your attention to is right here. It says library/YMCA. As you know, the City of Edmond has committed $30 million to construct that facility. Throughout the design process, which happy to say the project is now out to bid. It has been a challenge to continue to hold to that price, and we're very appreciative of our partners with the YMCA contributing an additional $1.5 million during construction for that cost. So what this is the expense side, and then there's also the revenue side where we see the money coming in from the YMCA. In addition to the $1.5 million that the YMCA has decided to commit to the project up front, over a 15-year period of time, they will pay back their proportionate share of the project, which is just a little over $12 million. I hope that's further clarification about this project. Again, very excited that our partners at the YMCA were able to step up and provide additional funding on the project.
Good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, anyone in the audience want to say anything on our budget? Well, council,
Motion to approve.
we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your vote. Budget's been approved. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much. Consideration approval of resolution number
22-24.
22-24. Okay. Authorizing spending above the 90% limit as designated by the Oklahoma Municipal Budget Act of 1979. This is something that we like to do, or maybe not like to do, but it's necessary. Any further discussion or any need for discussion on item 9G2? None from the council. Any question, comments from the audience on our item 9G2? Seeing none, council, what would you like to do?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any other discussion? Please cast your vote. Item is passed. Thank you very much.